Up, everybody? I'm Colonel Cadet, and that's who you'd be if you were me. Today, somebody had wanted me to look at this game called Gems of War. So they say they're not too interested in the hacks themselves, but in the thought process behind why I did what I did. And, so here we go. So when they sent me the request to do this, they said that, oh, well, I looked in puzzle.puzzleboard. So here we are inside of puzzle.puzzleboard, and we can just sort of go through here and look around and see what we can see. We've got some weird arrays and some variables. Not a whole heck of a lot. Set up stuff, set up grid, set up gems. And the thing that he likes is to mess with the way the matches work. And so I want to say he messed around. I don't actually remember, but something maybe with these. Well, let's try this. Not even double click. I wonder if this works in this thing. No. Let me see if I can. What I'm trying to do is make the font a little bit bigger so that you can see it easier. Settings. Advanced settings, maybe. Display. Scripts formatting. I don't actually see any font changing stuff. I'm sure it's going to be obvious and you're probably screaming at me like, hey idiot, just click this button. But Control plus doesn't work. Control scroll doesn't work. Control middle mouse doesn't do anything. So you're just gonna have to bear with me, I guess. So that's interesting. Cheat win. Doesn't matter though. It's not what we're talking about right now. Swap gems. There it is. So if you look at swap gems, you think, hey, well, this is where gems get swapped, right? And of course, you'd be right. You can see here that they're getting the gem 1 and gem 2 for where you slide from wherefore to whenceforth. Anyway, and then you get this little callback function, and I can't remember, to be honest with you, what we did. Because we both immediately sort of looked at it and I think came up with the same idea at first. And, oh, you know what it was? I think it was, if we did this is swappable. No, it wasn't even that. It was something like that. But it wasn't that. It was, let's go over here to Puzzle Gem. There was a function called something. But it was basically like, there we go, matches with any type. So both of us had the same first thought, well, we'll just make it match with anything, and then it'll match with everything, right? But if you do that, the game will hang. Presumably because it's as it's generating the board, like it's automatically matching them up, and so the playboard never actually gets spawned At least not that you can play with it, right? So you got to come back here to this puzzle board, and now I'm scrolled back up to the top. So let's hit Control F over here, and it'll bring up the quick find, and we're going to swap gems. Now how they're going to tell me that swap gem isn't found? Oh, I've got to ignore case. I'm an idiot. So you can see here, like, grid released, like, so where you click it, you know, grid clicked, grid released. Okay, so we swap the gems, and, you know, so here's the function to do it. So what you do, you can sort of mess around, and you see this local 2 equals check match, and then local 3 equals check match. So that got me thinking, you know, like, what if, right, they're not a match, but we still wanted to swap the gems? So what I figured, you know, and then there wasn't a whole lot more thought behind it, but I look down here and I can see, oh, if local 2 or if local 3, right? And local 3 gets set here and local 2 gets set here. It says it's an object, but I'm going to assume it's some sort of Boolean resolution, right? Because it's just used as a straight up conditional right here. So I figured, well, let me show you the pseudocode so it makes a little bit more sense. So here we're going to get local 2, convert it to a Boolean, duplicate it, and then if true, jump down here to offset 154, right? And then, so then we're going to jump down here into this code. So I figured, well, why don't I just change this if true, make it a little bit more clear even. Change this if true, which is a jump of 3 bytes, which would jump over 29D376. So I figured, well, let's just go ahead and if true, we'll jump 0. And that'll come right here to this 29. And it'll pop whatever's on the stack off. It'll load up local 3. It will convert that to a Boolean. And then if that Boolean is false, it's going to jump down E6 bytes down onto offset 23E. But then I thought, well, why don't we just set that to 0? So then you'd have 12, which is jump if false, branch if false, branch and jumper, I guess the same thing, just different words for the same concept. Anyway, so if we change this E6, we won't be going here anymore. We'll be going right here. So we'll play the sound, we'll do the matches, and all that stuff, right? But if you notice also up here, and so then the gems move. Let's stick with that for a second. So if you do that, then the gems move. So hey, that's pretty good. And you know, when I play these swap games like this, like your Candy Crush type things, I always think, man, if I just had one extra turn where I could swap these two, I'd be set up really good for the next one, right? But they don't let you do that because it would be too easy. So even though going ahead and just setting these to jump 0 doesn't buy me a match, it does let me set myself up for the future. But then I thought, well, I don't know if that's really as good as he wanted. Like that doesn't seem to quite accomplish his goal of getting like lots of matches, right? So I figured, well, you know, let me stick my dick in there and see what feels good. So I look back up a little bit, and the other place that I can immediately see that this local 2 gets called is right here in another conditional. And then inside of that conditional, so basically if we check this match and it checks out, then we're going to come down here and we're going to destroy that match, right? So that makes me think, well, hey, why don't we go have a taking a poke down here. I reckon it might feel alright. So you hit your Control F and you hit your Control V, and there's your destroy match down here at the bottom. I'm scrolling it up, and you see a lot of locals, like 40 of the cunts apparently. Like there's local 38. So there's a lot of stuff going on. It's pretty busy, and we're not really that into it, right? So we want to get in and get out and get pretty quick. So we see this conditional, and we look down a little bit further, and we see this other conditional. And then we look down a little bit further, and I don't actually know. Did I pass the end of that last one? Yeah, maybe. Yeah. But then there's a whole lot more after that, actually. But what if we come in here to this little conditional and we try some other stuff? See what we can do. Get weird with it, right? So we'll go ahead and we'll do the same trick. Here goes that match horizontal, and there's a branch. Change that branch to 0. Change this one from whatever to 0, and then that way, no matter what, it's going to land us right here in this little sweet spot of code that we want to see what we can do, right? And what we see here is this mark for destroy. So you figure if it's marked for destruction, then something good might happen. Who knows, right? We're not going to concern ourselves with actually analyzing the code because it's easier just to try it and see, right? So how do we get in this while loop? How do we make sure that this executes every time? Well, we're going to look at it. And so here's our built-in safety. If local 12 exists and local 12 is not moving, the exclamation of course means not. And a local type.get type equals local 13, and local 13, just as a guess, is going to be the gem type of whatever the match that got passed in was. And we can come up here and try to find it. Local 13 is 0. Local 13 equals local 12.get type, local 8.get type. So it is a type, right? We know that. And so we figure, well, we want to get rid of that bastard. So regardless of whether it's equal to that, we're going to try to get rid of it, right? So we'll go ahead. There's going to be a branch here, of course. And, you might have figured out the secret by now. We'll change this if true to 0. And then that way it'll land us right here. And then this dot B match whatever, match type horizontal. Well, let's go ahead and pretend that that's true too. So we'll come down here to this next if statement, set that 9 to a 0. And then you come down here to this local 12, matches with any type. And you'll say, yeah, fuck it, why not? And you'll change this like 11 to a 10 maybe. Or even, see, now, because this is a while loop, this branch actually becomes important, and you'll notice that this is a negative value. You might not notice that, but I can promise you that is a negative value. And what that's going to do is that's going to branch us way back up to the beginning of a lot of code. Unless I'm mistaken. Yeah, so it's 581. So label. So yeah, so this would be the start of the loop right here, as demarcated by this label 09 by opcode. The opcode 09 doesn't do anything, it just marks the start of a loop. So then we come back here, blah blah blah, 9. So then there's the end of the loop, right? So how do we get it to do what we want it to do? Well, if you'll remember, there's our thing, right? So there's our jump. So we could just grab all of this and then set all of this to 02, each of these individual bytes to 02, which is a NOP in the flash index language opcodes. So NOP, and then you're going to want to change the 7.6 to a 2.6. 2.6 is of course push true, and so then when we if true, we'll go back to the top. Easy peasy. And then we wonder, well, did that do anything? And then of course for the match vertical, we'll come down here and we'll do that as well. And then for this match vertical, it's the same sequence of steps, right? It's the same code, it's just a different direction. Vertical versus horizontal, not horizontal. I'm not some New Jersey hillbilly. But anyway. So I mean that's that. So we would take our AOB, and I guess why not show you, right? So we'll grab from here and we'll come up. It was 5 something. Doesn't really matter. So you can see that I've highlighted that, right? So then once I've highlighted it, I'll hit Control C. Then I'm going to come over to the desktop. I'm going to fire up this program called Raw Data AOB Extractor. And I'll wait for a few seconds because my computer's running a lot of stuff in the background right now. And you'll see 2 edit boxes. Original codes go here. And so I will paste, right click and paste. And that didn't do it for me. Of course not. Let's see. Copy. So if you missed that, I right clicked, copy. And then I'm going to come back into the AOB extractor. And well, let's just close that one and pretend like it didn't open for some reason. Anyway, so here's the other one where I was using it and I clicked and I accidentally pasted destroy match, right? So if I right click and I paste, that's going to overwrite whatever was in here to begin with, and that's why you do it that way instead of clicking in here and then hitting Control V. You can also do that, but it will insert. See, it saw that one as a comment, and so now you're completely fucked. So that's how that goes. Anyway, let's right click paste, get AOB, copy it over to the edit pane. I like to go ahead and now I can actually make this code bigger for you, right? So if I click in here and I control and scroll up, see, even this crappy ass program made by some idiot knows how to properly scroll text, although it didn't store my embiggenment. But anyway, so we would come down here, right? This was where I was talking about change all of those to NOPs. Oh wow, and then it resets again. That's annoying. Like I said, this was made by some asshole idiot. Anyway, so then this becomes a 2.6, and now we're always going to take this branch. And likewise, we'll change this one to 0.0, and we'll always take that branch. And somewhere up here. Probably not, actually, maybe even further than this. I don't remember. Blah, blah, blah. Mark for destroy. Destroy. Anyway, I mean, that's what you would do. And then you get array bytes, and then you come over here into cheat engine and be like, search and paste. Or if you were so inclined, you could come back over here, convert all of those, right click, convert all operands to question mark, and then that'll give you some wildcard action. That way you're less likely to have to come back and look at this again in the future. Then you hit get AOB, copy over to the edit pane. It sets you all up nice over there.